This is an austerity budget. Sadly, it's my fifth austerity budget since I've been on the Board of Supervisors. Some folks think that we're out of the woods. I'm not sure at all that we are, and I certainly don't want to bank on it.
There are a lot of variables that we had to deal with that we don't always have to deal with. One of the bigger ones being that we don't know what's going to happen in Richmond. Their budget is still up in the air, and while we have pretty good indications, deals go sideways, as we all know, in the political process.
We had some challenges. The challenges were, do we fund public safety? Do we fund more for the education? And a lot of complaints, a lot of challenges we're having are with the public safety.
A lot of folks have asked about public safety and why that was such a priority, but you need only look back at the elections last fall, and in all three of the contested supervisors races, public safety was a major issue that came up.
We're having complaints about more drugs in neighborhoods.
You know, everybody's been hearing about some of the gang activity, some of the violent crimes that are happening in the Bealton area and some of the other areas. And quite frankly, that was something that I thought that we should get ahead of. And I think the other board members thought the same.
The dispatch center is overloaded with all the new 911 technology coming on board. So we're hiring 5 more dispatchers.
Likewise, the issues with the volunteers. The situation has shifted. The volunteers have been struggling and scrambling to cover as much as they could, and I think they've done a yeoman's job, but they are finally having to face the fact, based on issues that they're not able to address adequately, that they need help.
And so we're going to have to hire more career staffing, and so we're hiring 22.
To the issue of the school budget, the schools are getting a great deal of money from the state and the federal level that the rest of the county is not getting, that the firefighters are not going to be funded, for instance, by federal or state money. Likewise, the deputies, we're not seeing increases in the state support levels there. So knowing that the schools were getting significant money elsewhere to make up their shortfall, it seemed more prudent to put the money into those services that were not being adequately met first.
I'd love for us as a school board and the county government to come together and say, let's tighten our belts. Let's look at where we are. Let's see, once we find out what the state does to us in the next 2 weeks, how much we get or we don't get, we ought to set a plan that by the end of the year we know if we can give a raise.
I believe the schools are doing a great job. I think the teachers, we got great teachers and stuff, and I believe they deserve a raise, as do our county employees, but things are just real tight right now. Most people in the county don't have or haven't had raises in 5-6 years, and you know, some of them don't even have the job that they had 5 years ago. So I know the other people don't really want to hear that, but that's the way it is, and that's the reality of it. And I'd much rather have to stand toe to toe and explain to somebody why little Johnny's soccer got cut or something like that, rather than explain why little Johnny died in a fire or little Johnny died from a bee sting because we couldn't get emergency services to him. From where I was coming from, you know, I think the average income in Fauquier County is like $50,000 or something, and the average income for the school employees across the board averages to $66,000. I can't see myself going to the people that make $50,000 a year and saying, I need to increase your taxes so we can give a raise to the people who make $66,000 a year.
The overwhelming response I got was, don't raise my taxes.
From all people from all walks of life and all political stripes, we're very much so the same mentality of, you guys need to try to figure it out with the money you've got now.
So nobody's going to be particularly thrilled with what this budget accomplishes. Other than it's a batten down the hatches, get through another year and see where we are in a year and hope that we can do more in a year than we were able to do now.